Ink Ribbon.
You may know February 14th is Valentine's Day, but I know it as Lara Croft's birthday. So I thought this would be a perfect time to make a video all about the leading lady of gaming and her iconic first adventure. This is my list of the top 10 secrets and Easter eggs in Tomb Raider.
Number 10.
Braid. As you probably have noticed, Lara doesn't have her signature braid in the first game, which is odd since she does have it in the pre-rendered cutscenes. Well, there is a simple explanation for this, and that is that it was just too buggy for the final release. Due to the limited processing power of the PlayStation, things like hair physics had to be faked using programming techniques. Gavin Rummery, a programmer on the first two Tomb Raider games, explained it had been dropped from the original because it didn't work properly with all the acrobatic moves. It was more like she had an electric eel attached to her head that had a life of its own. But on Tomb Raider 2 I came up with a way to get it working and was really pleased at how natural it looked.
Number 9.
Passport. This is a really small but very cool and often overlooked Easter egg. As you progress through the game, if you go into the inventory and check Lara's passport, it actually gains more stamps for each area of the game that you proceed through.
Number 8.
Evolution of Lara. We all know Lara as she was portrayed, but she actually went through a lot of changes before she emerged as the gun-toting heroine. Originally, she was actually a man named Fletcher Christian, who was a very uninspiring Indiana Jones ripoff. After being reworked, she was made into a very cold-blooded militaristic woman with a very muscular physique. After some more reworking, she was given the name Lara Cruz and was a South American mercenary inspired by the Swedish singer Nene Cherry, as well as the comic book character Tank Girl. After one last redesign, they decided to make her British and change her name, and they did this by going through a phone book to see names and settled on Lara Croft, which means that somewhere out there is some random woman who unwittingly gave her name to one of the most famous video game characters of all time. I'm not sure if this will help or hurt this rumor, but in a 1999 interview with Computer Game Graphics, Toby Gard, the creator of Lara, said there is a misconception that while adjusting the character model, Gard accidentally increased the breast dimensions by 150% and the rest of the creative team argued to keep the change. Gard, however, has stated that the notion came from a silly remark he made once in an interview. Nowadays, you see tons of characters wielding dual pistols, but Lara really brought it to the attention of millions. However, her dual pistols were actually inspired by the movie Hard Boiled and the comic Aeon Flux. And lastly, her tank top and shorts were inspired by Laura Dern's character in the movie Jurassic Park.
Number 7.
Locations. Throughout Lara's adventure, she goes to a lot of different places, but did you know that some of them are real? Well, sort of. In the first game, Lara visits South America, Greece, Egypt, and Atlantis. The very first level, Vilcabamba, is a real place in Peru, but it's in a much warmer climate than the game portrays. It was actually a capital city of the Neo-Inca era in the 1500s, but was abandoned and forgotten before being rediscovered in 1964. Before you plan your real-life Tomb Raider expedition, however, you should know that as of 2013, Vilcabamba has become inaccessible by land vehicles and halted all archaeological work since nobody can get to it. The next location, St. Francis's Folly, isn't a real place but has a lot of real-life symbolism. The name of the level most likely alludes to St. Francis, who is a patron saint of animals, since the level contains so many of them, including bats, crocodiles, gorillas, lions, and Pierre. And lastly, we have Atlantis. Obviously, Atlantis doesn't exist the way it's portrayed in the game, but the most popular real-life inspiration for the locations of the Atlantis levels is probably the volcanic island of Santorini, Greece.
Number 6.
Glitches. Games tend to have glitches, and Tomb Raider is no exception, but not all glitches are bad. These are mostly used just for skipping sections of gameplay or getting to areas normally not accessible. Veteran players are very familiar with most of these, but if you're not, here are a few. First, there's the block bug, where by positioning Lara parallel to a crate that's aligned with a corner and jumping sideways, she can teleport through it. Then there's the fence bug, where with very careful positioning of Lara at a seam in a fence, she can simply walk right through it. And lastly, the most well-known glitch is the corner bug. If you can get Lara closely aligned up to an outward-facing corner, with the right positioning and a jump, Lara will teleport to the top of whatever corner that is, if there's a place to stand. And I should mention that most of these work in all 3 of the first Tomb Raider games.
Number 5.
Movie reference. As mentioned, she was originally going to be an Indiana Jones ripoff. Well, as an ode to this, in her mansion you can find the Ark of the Covenant from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not sure how it got into her house, but hopefully no one tries to open it.
Number 4.
Lara trivia. There is a ton of Lara Croft trivia that didn't really fit anywhere else, so here it goes. Lara's middle name is Amelia. Eidos' studios received letters, photos, gifts, and real-life marriage proposals from all over the world for Lara. She has also appeared on a postage stamp in France. Lara has actually sang with Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics via the model Rona Mitra, who was the current model for Lara Croft at the time. She became the spokesperson for the Barcelona-based Volkswagen subsidiary and appeared in an ad for their cars where she escapes a T-Rex, evades hitmen, dodges a helicopter, and then picks up a group of surfer dudes.
Alhambra. Montez, montez, j'ai peur toute seule.
One real estate company estimated that if it was real, Lara's mansion, which is based on the building where the game was developed, would be worth about $43 million.
Number 3.
Sony didn't want it. Originally, Tomb Raider was a Sega Saturn timed exclusive, and when presented to Sony, they weren't really impressed with the game and felt that it was too mature for their console, which had been struggling to find a mascot to compete with Mario and Sonic. As we know, Tomb Raider became a huge mega smash hit, becoming one of the best-selling PlayStation games and quickly changed Sony's mind. A Nintendo 64 port had been in development because they assumed Nintendo would want it, but the deal never went through. Though it was designed for the Sega Saturn, the success on the PlayStation led to no more games being developed for the Saturn.
Number 2.
Knockoffs. With every big success, there comes a long line of imitators, and this includes Tomb Raider. Among the PS1 games that tried to copy Lara's success are games like ODT, Escape or Die Trying, Pitfall 3D, Shadow Man, Blade Arts, Lupin the Third, Death Trap Dungeon, and Danger Girl. I'm sure there are a lot more that we don't know about, but it doesn't matter because nobody was able to recreate the magic of Tomb Raider.
Number 1.
Development. Development of the first Tomb Raider began in 1993 with a team of 6 people and took about 18 months to complete. Obviously, since this is something that had never really been done before, there was a lot of developmental changes that the game went through. Originally, Lara was actually one of 2 player character choices, the other being a male character. But she was meant to be the female alternate while the male character was the central character. Eventually, production costs, mainly the pre-rendered cutscenes, were just way too much work to do for each character, so Lara was chosen as the main and only character since the staff liked her the best. While a lot of different things influenced Lara and the story, the actual look and feel of the graphics were inspired by Virtua Fighter, which was the first 3D fighter ever created. Along with this, the developers noticed that the players seemed to prefer choosing the female fighters, and that sparked the idea to introduce a female adventurer. While there have always been platforming and adventure games, Tomb Raider is what revolutionized the gaming genre and literally created the action-adventure genre. It also was at the forefront of 3D platforming and even debuted before Super Mario 64 was ever even shown to the public. And that is it for this list. To Lara Croft, I say happy birthday, and to you, I say if I missed anything to leave it in the comments below, find me on Twitter, or join the Ink Ribbon Discord server. Links to all of those are in the description below. Also, if you aren't subscribed, now is a great time to do so because I have a lot more videos just like this coming soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I look forward to covering all of the games in the Tomb Raider franchise in the future. I'm Kai Morgan, and as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon. And a very special thank you to my bronze, silver, and gold Patreon supporters. Thanks to you, I can make videos without worrying about demonetization and grow my channel faster.